Were not targeted. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Las Vegas Metro Police released more information after yesterday's shooting on the UNLV campus.
Las Vegas Sheriff Kevin McMahill said when they responded to UNLV, plainclothes officers confronted 67-year-old Anthony Polito as he exited a building on campus.
The suspect was struck multiple times and collapsed to the ground.
3 other faculty members were killed and 1 other was injured. McMahill said Polito had financial problems, had applied for several jobs at Nevada colleges. His prior job teaching was in North Carolina years ago.
The suspect had a list of people he was seeking on a university campus, as well as faculty from the Eastern Carolina University.
He says before the shooting, Polito sent 22 letters to various university personnel, and some letters they intercepted had some kind of white powder inside.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The sheriff says inside the suspect's home they found a last will and testament, ammunition, and electronic devices, including computers. A 28-year-old man under arrest after shots were fired outside a Jewish temple in New York's capital of Albany earlier today. Governor Kathy Hochul called it deplorable.
We will not be intimidated into silence. We will not be threatened into submission. And we will celebrate every aspect of the great Jewish traditions, starting here with Hanukkah.
Hochul says New York State Police are increasing patrols at Jewish places of worship. Masters champion Jon Rahm of Spain is leaving the PGA Tour for the Saudi-backed Live Golf League. Rahm telling Fox's Brett Baer on Special Report.
This wasn't anything personal with them. It was the choice for me and my family and the better of our future. And I hope all the friends that I made still, stay my friends, because I certainly am not going to change, and who I am doesn't really change.
This comes as the PGA Tour and LIV are trying to work out a deal to combine into a single entity. America is listening to Fox News.
'93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Pleading not guilty. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending this hour. You may remember hearing that former Indianapolis Colts safety Sergio Brown went to Mexico earlier this year, around the time that his mother was found dead in Illinois. Sasha Nixon reports that he's pled not guilty to her murder.
Myrtle Brown was found dead in mid-September, and her death was quickly ruled a homicide. The Cook County Medical Examiner's office said she had died from traumatic injuries. The woman had been living with her son, Sergio Brown, at a home in Maywood, Illinois. Following her death, police believe that he went to Mexico with his mother's credit card and partied. He is expected to appear in court again in January. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
The congressional budget process is a big waste of time, says Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Sparks.
Do a lot of presentations and hearing, but not really looking at number one functions was given to Congress by we the people.
As the U.S. government slips further into debt, Sparks says the people who are struggling the most are those in the middle class and those on fixed incomes. Temperatures might get into the 60s at times this weekend, but then it cools down heading into next week.
We're going to see a cold front sweep through the area that will bring an end to the precipitation, but also bring our temperatures sharply cooler again. We're not looking at any kind of massive cold snap really necessarily.
Forecaster Joe Neal believes highs will hover in the 40s next week with lows down to the 20s at times. Little to no rain is expected. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A warmer and breezy night under partly cloudy skies is ahead with lows in the low to mid 40s, and Friday we're going to boost into the mid to upper 50s with increasing clouds, wind gusts up to 25 to 35 miles per hour. A few showers possible late Friday night. On Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $300. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, is sponsoring the Matt Bear Salvation Army Radiothon virtual candle this week on WIBC.com. B&W will match your donation up to $500 if you give by 6 a.m. Friday. Go to WIBC.com, look for the Salvation Army Radiothon, and click on the Matt Bear link. Thanks to B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical, your trusted independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer serving Central Indiana.
Wendy's Peppermint Frosty is back for the holidays, so take some time to chill this year. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Vanilla Frosty is temporarily unavailable.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
The Phone Ready quiz from the American Academy of Pediatrics will help you decide if you and your child are ready for their first phone. Go to healthychildren.org/phone ready quiz.
Tony Katz.
It's Kendall and Casey.
The Hammer and Nigel show. All right, when does your show start? Do we know? I feel like I've been promoting this for 9 years now.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Good evening and welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. A little bit of a new bumper track that we have for you. And if you're asking if we got the permission of the show hosts to use their voices in the early part of the bumper, absolutely not. So with that out of the way, it's on to the news. But wait. I want to encourage you to go donate to the WIBC Radiothon. It's very, very important work that we get to do here, and it's also important to make sure that you are using some of what you have to help those who are less fortunate. I'm really looking forward to the WIBC Radiothon. I've listened to it before. You've got some on-air personalities like Pat Sullivan and Denny Smith, who are just a cut above everyone else on the daily team. Then you've got Terry Stacey, Matt Bear, of course, the legendary Cocaine Bear himself. And then, of course, Hammer and Nigel, Kendall, and Casey. It's going to be great, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that here at the beginning of the show. A lot of our listeners are downloading the podcast, may not get to hear it live, so make sure you head over to WIBC.com and check out the Radiothon information there. Well, I wish that everything was, so well put together as the Radiothon in the news, but unlike everyone coming together for the Radiothon, everybody's leaving in the Republican Congress. Kevin McCarthy is resigning at the end of the year for reasons kind of unknown. Speaker Johnson has been very kind to him. There'd been a little bit of weird, junior high-level pushing and shoving drama. And no, pushing and shoving isn't like a metaphor for anything. I mean, there were actually U.S. congressmen pushing and shoving each other. It's not as bad as the time a representative was caned right before the Civil War, but, people acting like children that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So with Santos gone and McCarthy leaving, this brings the GOP lead in the House of Representatives to only +2. That means now Democrats only have to peel away just 2 or 3 Republicans in order to pass legislation that they want through. I remind you that the insane man who should be wearing at least 5 straitjackets, Hakeem Jeffries, is now running that roost. It's not Pelosi anymore. They have someone who actually has managed to be worse than old Goose Teeth herself. And McCarthy said, this is according to the Wall Street Journal, "I have decided to depart the White House at the end of this year to serve America in new ways." I'm going to be honest with you. I actually hope McCarthy takes Ronna McDaniel's old job. He is far better at raising money and getting Republicans elected than perhaps any other Republican that we've seen in recent years, other than Ron DeSantis. I know that the other night I was talking to Tyler O'Neill from the Daily Signal. He was covering the Republican debate, and that's exactly where we're headed here in a moment. But I got to tell you, if Ron DeSantis does not end up making it out of Iowa alive, he really should take Ronna McDaniel's spot, and Ronna McDaniel should be deported to the farthest reaches of outer space where she can never bother the Republican Party again. So, speaking of bothering the Republican Party, I know that the Republican Party bothers Representative Victoria Spartz of Indiana. And if there's anyone out there tonight who has the ear of said Congresswoman, I probably guess I could text her team. I am begging you, I know Victoria, Representative Spartz, Madam Representative, that you have suggested that with all of the shenanigans going on in the House, that you might also resign and head home and just kind of leave Congress to itself. Please don't. Please don't. I've had enough Republicans resigning or being kicked out of the House and all the shenanigans. Please finish your term to 2024. Please do not add to the shenanigans. Don't leave. And with that, I'm sure that she's been completely convinced. Speaking of completely convinced, Nikki Haley might actually have convinced the GOP to unify by absolutely hating her. If you do nothing else, please go to youtube.com and type in the search bar, Nikki Haley getting destroyed. And the first thing that should come up is just a video of last night's debate. Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis took turns just obliterating absolutely everything that she had to say, and she really only has herself to blame. Every policy that she's put forward is completely antithetical to what the modern Republican Party wants. She is very globalist in a lot of agendas that she has. She has no idea what provinces Ukraine is even fighting for at the moment, despite her war hawkish kind of Boeing, Lockheed Martin-esque atmosphere. And also, she doesn't really understand how statistics work. And here's a little bit of what that looked like.
For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that.
Yeah, if you're confused by that, so is everyone else, including the Koch brothers donation teams that are chucking enormous amounts of money. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why I tell you that just money alone is not going to be enough to get GOP candidates over the line anymore. Nikki Haley's why. That comment made no sense at all. I hate TikTok. I work for the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation despises TikTok more than anything else on this earth, other than maybe FDR. TikTok is awful. I hate it. I also think there's a lot of anti-Semitic garbage that China is fueling over on TikTok. But no, if you spend 30 minutes on TikTok, you're not going to become 17% more anti-Semitic. There are freshman level statistics courses that you can take for free. And a lot of colleges offer them. I would recommend that to the former governor of South Carolina who has no hope, prayer, or chance of winning Iowa. And after a performance like that, no chance at New Hampshire either. This brings us to Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, the guy who, after a racial lynch mob targeted a Jewish teacher, sent DEI counselors in to lightly and softly lecture those individuals. Well, here's Eric Adams on his way to Washington, D.C. to meet with the President of the United States.
New York is headed to Washington, D.C. This is my 10th trip to meet with governmental officials, congressional leaders, and just really send a strong message. We need help. And clear, New Yorkers are angry. I'm angry. I know that we should not be using our tax dollars on a national problem, and I'm going to continue to voice my concerns on what's happening to the city that I love, the city that you love.
So he's very upset because migrants have completely flooded the sanctuary city that he helped to build. It turns out that migrants that move into the area and have no place to live and no money and nowhere to work and no benefits, because a lot of them aren't even U.S. citizens, especially a lot of them being 20-year-old something males that are good for nothing. And when a 20-year-old leaves his country to come to yours, that's one of the likely reasons why. And so I'm just saying, out there, just throwing this idea out there. Maybe you shouldn't have made New York the embarrassing sanctuary city if you didn't want all of the migrants. It reminds me of that classic meme.
What happened here? Yeah, we're all trying to find the guy who did this and give him a spanking.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this. Man, I don't know who invited all of these migrants? And there's just like a big picture of New York Democrats out there. So love the Democrats trying to turn this around. It's amazing when you upset New York Democrats enough to have them turn on policy. But, best wishes. And as Biden would say, best of luck on your senior year. Up next, we're going to be talking to Daniel Buck because the Department of Education doesn't teach your kids how to read, but they've got unicorns for them. You are listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The National Toy Hall of Fame has announced its new class. Baseball cards, Cabbage Patch Kids, Fisher-Price corn popper, that little thing you push, and Nerf.
Nerf?
Nerf made it in.
I think I'm good with the list. Literally, I think a stick is in the National Toy Hall of Fame.
It is.
Who didn't make it?
Slime. It's a staple of Nickelodeon.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
So what's a good rate on a CD today? Something like 5%? Yeah, and that's the highest it's been in a long time. Well, you know your retirement guy, Bill Demery, could help you do way better, right? Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. Instead of getting 5%, what if you could get a much better return? Like a return that's averaged 7% per year for the past 10 years. That's 40% better. Let me say that again, 40% better.
Plus, now check this out, you also get an immediate 13% bonus on your investment, and it's all backed by one of the largest insurers in the world. A 13% bonus and a 7% average return. You should call Bill Demery right now. 317-648-5120. 13% bonus. This won't last long. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, 648-5120. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but hate to paint? Do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
And Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating, better than paint.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
Our 25% off special is now extended through December, plus receive a free game console just by having Rhino Shield applied by spring of 2024.
It was done in 2001. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Remember, you have until the end of December to receive 25% off, plus get your job done by spring of 2024 and receive a free game console. Restrictions apply. Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
My husband Bob has Parkinson's and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. The program begins in summer of 2024. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
If you're over 50, Absolute Wealth Management LLC is offering a special deal to kickstart your financial journey in 2024. You can have your 2023 tax return prepared and filed, including Schedules A, B, and D, for just $79.95. Call us now at 317-288-0634. That's 317-288-0634, or visit AbsoluteWealthManagementLLC.com. Investment advisory services offered through Gradient Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Gradient Advisors LLC and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting advice.
Brace yourself for the ultimate holiday deal with Consumer Cellular. Snag an incredible 50% off the Iris Flip when you buy before December 17th, making it only $34.50. The Iris Flip is all the phone and camera you need with a user-friendly design, the perfect flip phone companion. Plus, you'll get nationwide coverage and always free activation. Score 50% off when you use promo code RADIO50. Head over to consumercellular.com and use promo code RADIO50 during checkout to score this deal.
Go, 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 go. And on the
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Good evening and welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. Joining us this evening is Daniel Buck from the Fordham Institute. And there's something that we were sharing a little bit earlier today from our favorite Department of Education. This guy's a real doozy, eh, Buck?
Yeah, he wants all of our students to get in touch with their inner unicorns. And if we want to talk about useless institutions, I don't know, the U.S. Department of Education has got to be in the running for number one.
Have you ever gotten in touch with your inner unicorn, Buck?
Thankfully, I have not. And in fact, anytime I meet a fully grown man who's obsessed with unicorns, that's just an immediate red flag for me.
Wait a minute, you say this every time. Is that a regular thing? You're up in Milwaukee running into manly unicorns?
I refrain from comment on that one.
So Brian Coleman, who is the American School Counselor Association's 2019 Counselor of the Year, says that we need to embrace our inner unicorn. This is on Tolerance Week from the U.S. Department of Education. Here's what that looked like.
I talk a lot about unicorns. I have a unicorn on my lapel, right? I think that it's so incredibly important for us to remember that we're all unique. We all have our unique strengths and challenges and experiences and perspectives. And I do think that any member of a school team, whether you're a school counselor, a school social worker, a teacher, a school psychologist, school security, an administrator, whatever role that you hold in a school, that you can show up meaningfully in the ways that you are special and unique, and you can model that for our youth and give them the tools and the space to do that themselves. We all are unicorns, and I think it's beholden on us as school staff and people who care about the health and wellness of our students to create space for them to be unique too.
So, why don't you start off with some of your thoughts on that very special statement from that very special counselor?
Now, the immediate association that I have is, the thing you see on social media right now is the okay groomer, and that immediately leaps out to me. But when I hear that, it's just so unserious. The international rankings of schools came out. It's called PISA test 2 days ago, or the same day that they released this video, and the U.S. had the lowest math score that we've ever had in the history of this test. And instead of having a serious adult conversation about how do we teach our children, what do we do about this, the fraying of the family, violence on the streets, genuine adult conversations. Instead, the U.S. Department of Education puts out a video about getting our kids to think about how they are unicorns. It's unserious, it's useless, and admittedly, it's disheartening. It makes me doubt if anything's actually going to get better.
I got to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of, just to kind of take this back as a communication and a leadership perspective. Because we have these people that are leading our schools, and there's this idea that you have to talk like this. And I feel, not hold it against me, that he and I are wearing kind of like the exact same thing. Other than that, I really have an issue with any individual who's starts listing all of the different kinds of leadership roles that this applies to, as though he's not able to say, hey, everyone in school, just make sure you're encouraging kids to use their strengths. We can't say that. We have to come up with some kind of an acronym or a metaphor. Think of yourself as a unicorn. I wear a unicorn on my lapel. And it's what?
I think back to the best teacher at my own high school, God bless Mrs. Rast, was this strict, tough as nails Catholic woman. And no one enjoyed her class necessarily because they knew they were going to get chewed out if they were talking out of turn. They knew they were going to be tested and drilled in the basics of grammar and vocabulary and Shakespeare. But my God, did everyone in that school respect her, because she didn't pander to her students. She treated them seriously. She challenged them. And we appreciated her for it. We didn't need some happy clappy teacher condescending to us. We needed someone to teach us and treat academics seriously.
I can think of different teachers in my life that have really challenged me and didn't take any crap from students or anybody really. a man named Mr. Thompson, who has passed away in middle school. He was my middle school science teacher, phenomenal guy. I can think of a lady named Deborah Brown and a guy named Bob Weinbarger, and they taught at my high school, and they were both very strict. But man, you learned a lot in their courses because they expected so much from you. And I think that, the reason he's trying to say this is because, or the reason the counselor is trying to say this is like, I guess there's this group of teachers that's running around not encouraging kids to play to their strengths, which is a total straw man. I've never met a teacher who's like, "You're worthless, kid, and you come from a worthless family. You'll always be worthless." Like, that's, oh, okay, sitcom villain. Why don't you relax? Like, every teacher genuinely believes, like, who are you really encouraging with this? Like, who walks away from this going, now I get it. Like,
Yeah, and it doesn't help administrators, it doesn't help teachers, it doesn't help policymakers. There are real things we could be doing for these kids. We could, California implement this ridiculous math framework where kids are supposed to just kind of discover their way into long division.
California, you don't say.
Schools are doing away with discipline, which is making it really hard to teach. Schools are talking about pronouns instead of algebra. There are actual things we could be doing to improve math instruction, but this video is just going to do none of that. It's going to accomplish none of that. And again, it's just disheartening is the word that I keep coming back to.
I think what really gets on my nerves is that I'm not even the kind of guy that I think a lot of parents and even a lot of our colleagues, I would disagree with them. I don't even think I've ever told you this before. I don't really have an issue with school counselors being more than career counselors. Like, if a kid's going through like a really hard time and they need somebody to talk to, and like you're a counselor who has some training in therapy and you want to like just be a sounding board, and I don't have an issue with that. But all of a sudden the school counselors became like these like pseudo administrators who were like ordering other teachers how to talk to students. Like, I'm sorry, your bachelor's degree in psychology from Kent State does not give you the authority to tell me how I need to talk to my students. As though if Jimmy's parents are getting divorced, I'm not going to know how to talk to him unless you lecture me about unicorns.
They're administrators that are then also trying to deputize teachers into their roles.
I'm sorry, I'm picturing like Barney Fife. You said deputize and the long arm of the law.
Well, they're delegating out these mental health social services to the teachers, trying to get the teachers to build up these kids' self-esteem. It's like, I want to teach English. That teacher wants to teach math. They want to teach history. They don't want to be sitting around having these heart-to-heart conversations with their kids, getting them to, again, find their inner unicorn. Stick to your role. If you're a counselor, be a counselor, not an administrator. If you're a math or an English or history teacher, do those things, and you might actually do them pretty well, and your kid might come out better readers, better at math, more knowledgeable about history. But if you try and do something else, you're probably going to accomplish neither of them.
So that's actually, we're on with Daniel Buck from the Fordham Institute. Under this, series of comments that this counselor made that they're filming for Tolerance Week, it's like every other week there's another DEI initiative week or month we're supposed to be celebrating in schools. But underneath that, there are all of these people just asking, like, can you just teach kids how to read, please? Like, they can't read, they can't read cursive, they can't do math. You've got Nikki Haley telling, people that every 30 minutes spent on TikTok makes you 17% more anti-Semitic. No one can do math, please. Just real education, we're begging you. But nope, you're getting unicorns.
When they try to do something else, they do it poorly. There's a lot of research coming out right now. Finally, people are looking in to see, is mindfulness in schools or is SEL in schools effective? They're finally actually saying, let's see if this thing works. And every single one of the studies is finding it's making kids more anxious, more depressed, have worse relationships with their parents.
You mean making a teenager focus on their changing emotions 24/7 isn't a good idea? Gee, who could have called that one?
Or schools are designed to teach academics, and if you try and ask them to do something else, they won't do it well. If you try and use a hammer to paint a wall, you're going to end up with holes in the walls. The tool is not designed for that.
That's right, kids. That shop lesson is free. No payment required. Daniel Buck, Fordham Institute, thanks for hopping on, man. And you have a unicorn week, my dude.
Thanks for having me on anytime.
You are listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's info 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Exercise Inc. wants you to start changing your life in 20 minutes a week this month. It's Terry Stacy, and this is an offer they've never made before. If you come in for a free consultation in the month of December, you'll get 2 free sessions just for trying it out. You don't even have to sign up. Exercise Inc. is a 20-minute, once-a-week workout program that will help you get stronger, have more energy, and just feel better. This program was developed to help women with osteoporosis. It will help both men and women get a lot stronger. Their program will also teach you simple nutritional habits that will help you lose weight and keep it off. Most importantly, you'll have a coach who will hold you accountable in reaching your goals. You do not want to miss this offer. Come in for a free consultation in the month of December, and you'll get 2 free sessions just for trying it out. Exercise Inc., Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, Zionsville, and now in Fishers. ExerciseInc.com.
Dents happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
You only have one heart, so let's keep it near everyone it beats for. Franciscan Health is leading the way as the only hospital in Indiana to be recognized as one of HealthGrade's 100 best hospitals for cardiac care and coronary intervention in 2024. We're delivering award-winning heart care in your neighborhood, near everyone you love, because our greatest reward is caring for you. Learn more about our compassionate, patient-focused approach to heart care. Visit us at franciscanhealth.org/heartcare.
As ride-sharing services become more popular, so do wrecks involving them.
I'm attorney Darrell Isaacs. At Isaacs & Isaacs, we have the people, the experience, and the resources to take on any kind of rideshare case. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
Remember, Uber and Lyft drivers carry $1 million insurance policies while transporting customers.
If you're injured in a rideshare wreck, click and get help quick at WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
Hey, it's JMV and our friends at Sundown Gardens and Miss M's Home and Garden are having a candy cane draw for customers this week. Draw your candy cane to see what you will save on all interior Christmas decor. Save anywhere from 20 to 50% off all interior Christmas decor at Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens. They also have live trees, greenery, garland, wreaths, and poinsettias too. Sundown Gardens, 186 in Spring Mill Road. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road.
Pierce Jewelers has the perfect sparkle to put under the tree this Christmas. So don't be a Grinch. Spoil your loved one with a little blue box from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel.
Awful tweets, the ones that no one ever deletes. Awful tweets on the Tony Kinnett Show.
On 93 WIBC.
Good evening and welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. That's right, you heard the jingle, and Jerry knows what that means. It's time for awful tweets, so let's dig right into it, Jerry. I hear you've got some real stinkers.
Definitely have 3 good ones on deck today. I think, we're going to have a nice laugh, and I know I brought the heat, so hopefully you did too here, TK.
Well, let's see what you got. No need for a bluff. Let's dig right in.
Awesome. Well, hey, my first one is coming from one of my favorite companies in the whole world, BlackRock. All right,
Oh.
and these, they just tweeted yesterday, as a matter of fact. BlackRock focuses on helping millions of Americans retire securely. We make decisions based on our clients' best interests, not political or ideological agendas. Demonizing law-abiding American companies undermines confidence in U.S. markets and leadership. Now, that sounds great, but I want you to play this clip from their CEO. Yeah, play this clip from their CEO that happened maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and let's see what he thought about it.
All right.
Behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. What we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay? You have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team.
Oh my! Oh my gosh, dude, that's insane.
I want to refer you back to one sentence in the tweet. We make decisions based on our clients' best interests, not political or ideological agendas.
Holy cow! It's so overt. Good Lord. All right, well, we're going to flip it just a little bit because I have one for you. So have you seen Lady Ballers, the new Daily Wire comedy yet?
I have not seen it, but all the trailers look hilarious.
It's pretty good. It's kind of like a return to kind of like Talladega Nights, kind of Nacho Libre style comedy. And so this is by a person named Ari Drennan. And they say, I am watching the Daily Wire basketball comedy. And my verdict is that conservatives are not getting better at comedy. And frankly, I'm disappointed. So for some of you who may not be aware, Lady Ballers is about a group of dudes who pretend to be women and just destroy women in sports competitions. Obviously, it mocks the fact that transgender, still dudes pretending to be women, are a threat to women's sports. The person that sent this out is, of course, a dude pretending to be a woman. Of course. Just, I don't think that sharks were a big fan of Jaws. I know, bold statements only.
That's funny. It reminds me of The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville. We did the same thing for Special Olympics. Yeah. So I have one, and I apologize to all you Swifties that might be listening. But so this person, her name is Saira, Saira Rao.
Saira Rao. Oh, yeah. This is going to be bad.
So, T Swift just got the Person of the Year. And little commentary on that, she said, the white American woman billionaire who could end the genocide of Palestinians with one IG post is Time Person of the Year. White nonsense, white violence, white love of black and brown genocide.
Ah, yes. You know how you can just tweet something out or put an Instagram post out and end conflicts between, Jews and Muslims that have been going on for, thousands of years. Yeah, that's
since the beginning.
That's a sane thing to take. Ah, yes. And again, Taylor Swift is a liberal. You would think that liberals would celebrate another liberal getting Time Magazine's Person of the Year. But no, Saira's so obsessed with race and sex. I'm convinced that she just has painted her entire house her skin color so she can go home and stare at it all evening. So speaking of women who are too obsessed with their own identity, Nikki Haley, whose only political strategy appeared to be I'm wearing heels. This is one of her tweets. In the last debate, Ron told millions of voters that he never gave favors to Chinese companies. That was a lie. She says Ron gave hundreds of thousands of dollars in state subsidies to Jinko Solar. And the best part is that right-wing, left-wing, and independent fact-checkers all rated that as 100% completely false. There is nothing, there's not even a rumor to suggest that DeSantis gave any money to a Chinese company at all. And I think that's great. If you're going to go out there and make political accusations, it's a common thing. You're going to have oppo, you're going to go out and throw things. You probably should double check if you're calling your opponent out on a lie that your statement is not also a lie. Just fun tips if you're ever running for office.
And when all the political parties get together like a transformer and say you're full of it, you're full of it.
I know. Who would have thought that Nikki Haley was going to be the person that united Vivek, DeSantis, and Trump? That's insane.
Oh, man. So my last one is pretty good. It's another female, Young Mi Meyer. So she looks like she's of maybe Asian descent. Don't know exactly what, but she's upset about grocery shopping. And she says,
okay,
whenever I go into a Korean grocery store and I see that they have Japanese miso, dragon fruit, or ube ice cream, I'm like, oh my God, how many white people came in here and terrorized them for not having this ingredient before they gave up and had to start selling other Asian staples? Oh, man.
What?
People just want to complain,
What?
Tony. This lady's mad that they have Japanese items at a Korean grocery store. And she's blaming white people for that.
I don't even understand. So, like, they've never had ube in Korea before? They're like, purple yams, we're not allowed to have that in Korea. Maybe, since she's so obsessed with what people are allowed to have, she can go to the North Korean grocery store, otherwise known as an empty room, because there's nothing to sell. So 10 out of 10 stuff on the awful tweets.
I'm going to start going around the city and looking for people with roast con pollo and start telling them, you can't sell that here, sir.
Now, make sure that's not in a Honduran restaurant. You better not go. Nicaragua restaurants better not have salsa. You don't know how many white people came in and yelled at them. It's always white people. Oh, white people, they yelled at the Korean shop. Have you ever tried yelling at or disagreeing with an individual who, like, runs an ethnic food restaurant? Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that ever.
I've never seen that. Most people, yeah.
I've never seen who and can you imagine how that would go? Like, you tell some like Korean man or Nicaraguan man or like a Greek man that he's not running his restaurant properly. Do you know what's going to happen?
And you're there to buy a sandwich. You're there to buy a sandwich, and you end up complaining about the way he's doing. Get a life.
Why would you? I've never complained about a store not having something. I just can't believe you guys don't have purple ice cream. Oh my god.
She's mad they do have it. She's mad they do have it. Like,
oh, but she's saying that like white people complained and that's why they had to get it. Like, I'd never walk into a Subway and go, "Hey, wait a minute, there's no shrimp here," and start like berating the owner of the Subway.
Well, if they have shrimp TK, I know who to blame.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make sure you keep that on your calendars for next week. Thanks very much for stopping by. Another great week of awful tweets. You are listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Do you feel like we do? Feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's gonna be more like summertime.
Do you feel like we do?
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Winter may seem like a strange time to replace the windows in your house, but with Window Nation, today is the perfect time. And right now, Window Nation is offering you 50% off all window styles. Plus, you could even get 0% interest for 5 years. With new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation, you'll start saving money instantly on your heating bills and get rid of those annoying cold drafts that are letting your heat out. And in the summer, they'll keep that cool AC in, so you'll save money all year long.
Plus, Window Nation's professional installation means your windows will fit right in your home, treated with care. And with 50% off all style of windows and 0 interest for 5 years, it's time to give Window Nation a look today. Let Window Nation show you all the options to fit your needs and your budget. All you got to do is call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to get started. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved a 50-year-old couple over $300 per month when compared to their old individual plan. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 per month when compared to their quote on healthcare.gov. We are now entering the crazy enrollment season when our federal government will spend millions telling us that healthcare.gov is our only good option for quality healthcare. Whether it's called healthcare.gov, Affordable Care Act, or it's still Obamacare, don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Give us a call at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Quoting the great Dr. Duke Tomato, Lord, please help our cults. And as always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indie and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indie. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Overcoming drug addiction is difficult. The road to recovery is different for everyone. Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIPC.
Good evening and welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC. I'm Tony Kinnett, and it's time that we sat down and had a chat. It's time that I told you a story. So gather the family around the old radio like it's 1929, and we're going to sit back and kick back with a little bit of reminiscing here, because in all honesty, the right kind of reminiscing is the true path forward for 2024. It's the true path forward for Democrats in 2024, but they don't really know that yet. And it's easily the truest path forward for Republicans. And there's a reason why. So before we kind of outline the reason reminiscing is a really great thing, let me tell you about Detroit. And no, I don't mean like inside the cities, like with all of the mile streets and all of that nonsense and the Tim Hortons on every other block, which might honestly be the best thing about Detroit. But just north of Detroit, in this place called Clinton Township, there is the Ford Assembly Manufacturing Plant. And a colleague of mine, Tim Kennedy, we went up to Clinton Township, drove up one frosty morn, and talked with a lot of the UAW, the United Auto Worker strikers, that were at the behest of the leadership. The people on the street were really angry about pensions being canceled and kind of the lack of seniority and a lot of common sense in the way the factory was being run, new people waltzing in and making as much money as, people with a lot of seniority at the plant who've been working there and working really difficult jobs for a long time. The leadership of the UAW was upset about entirely different things and kind of clowned around for a few months. But the people that we talked to on the ground consisted of Republicans, Democrats, people that considered themselves apolitical, people who said that every once in a while they would switch things up and vote Republican or Democrat. And one lady said, I guess that makes me an independent. I don't really know. And in talking to one of these individuals, I started chatting while we were warming up next to an actual metal oil barrel that had fire in it. Which just straight out of, some kind of a sitcom. But we're standing there chatting. And she tells me that she really liked Donald Trump even though he was kind of an a-hole. And she said, yeah, he was a jerk, an a-hole. I really didn't like hearing him talk. She said, but when he was president, there was always enough money for food on the table, gas in my car, and I never was really afraid of how we were going to make it from week to week. And that really struck a chord with me, because this isn't just like your average Rust Belt individual who was kind of turned by Trump. She did not vote for Trump the first time. She didn't. She said she voted for Hillary Clinton. She said she even had like a little "I'm with her" button, but she really liked what Trump did for the economy. And then that evening, Trump came to a small manufacturing facility not too far from the Ford assembly plant. Unlike Joe Biden, who did not come anywhere near that Ford assembly plant, Trump got up in front of a crowd and in front of a group of UAW strikers, and he talked about how good the economy was under his administration. And that's all he talked about. And he kind of like went back and forth in some of his like classical Trump antics in a rally where he kind of danced a little bit, and he kind of led the crowd in cheering some stuff that was in the news. But I'd say realistically, maybe not all that he talked about, but a good 90%. As I was in the room, corralled into this little like press area, because Trump, understandably so, hates the press. Of course, I really hated most of the people that I was standing with as well, from outlets like Washington Post and CNN. We're crammed in this little area, and I watched Trump stick to what his administration did well. And he knocked it out of the park in a way that pretty much only Trump can, and was really impressive. Fast forward to a couple of days ago. We've started up the Facebook page for the Tony Kinnett Cast, getting bullied by the people over at WIBC. You should definitely go follow the Tony Kinnett Cast over on Facebook. And I got a message from someone who I hadn't talked to in a very, very long time, who told me that, again, they really missed having Donald Trump around for the exact same reason. Didn't care about anything else, didn't care about the whole Joe Biden thing, didn't care about the Hunter Biden situation, didn't care about Hillary Clinton or like the garbage with the Steele dossier, or even the FBI and the other shenanigans that a lot of Republicans have been chatting about when it comes to Trump lately. The young lady told me that she just missed that she was making less money under Trump, but things were way less expensive, so it didn't matter. Now she's making like 4 or 5 times that much. And it's not enough to go around, because the price under Bidenomics, which he's running around toting, which is astounding to me, that isn't good enough. Making a salary that's much more than that isn't good enough. And I think about that. When I worked at Knightstown Intermediate School, my first year teaching in Indiana under contract. So I taught in Wisconsin for a while, came back down, and I worked at Knightstown Intermediate. My salary was $35,000 annually. And my rent was fairly cheap in Greenfield at the time. Groceries were very cheap. The cost of clothing, the cost of goods, the cost of gas was very, very cheap. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was making $35,000 is not exactly this huge bread-winning salary. But for a single guy at the time, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't a problem. Now I make much more than that. I made much, much more as an IPS science administrator. And yet, under the Biden administration, it just isn't enough. And all of these individuals around the country that are focusing on the day-to-day have these issues. And that's why I want to talk to you about what Trump sent out on Truth Social. Now, usually any story that starts out with Trump sent out on Truth Social is kind of a dumpster fire. Because, as you know, if Trump did not tweet at all through his entire presidency, he probably would have been reelected rather handily. Because Trump governed fairly conservatively when it came to the economy. He was rather libertine in like corporate and energy policy, or libertarian. It was rather libertine in social policy, and he was kind of a neocon in foreign policy. So when Trump actually sent out a truth, and I saw this being posted online, the eyes kind of rolled into the back of the head. Great. What has Trump said this time? Has he talked about Mitch McConnell's wife again? Or has he said something, silly regarding the justice system? No. This is what he sent out. Just 3 years ago, our economy was booming, the world was safe, and America was strong. Annual incomes went up by more than $6,000 under the Trump administration, and they went down by about $6,000 under the horrible Biden administration, the worst in the history of our country. The 30-year mortgage rate reached a record low of 2.65%. we had no inflation. We had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon. And then he starts talking about under crooked Joe Biden, the economy is in shambles and the world is going up in flames. Real incomes have gone down by $7,400 per family. Cumulative inflation is up nearly 20%. We have war in Europe. We have wars in the Middle East. And now we are stumbling into World War III. If Donald J. Trump sticks with that message to a T, I don't care if he wrote it. I don't care if a staffer wrote it. I don't care if Ron DeSantis writes it on index cards and hands it to him. If Donald Trump sticks with that message, he wins 2024 handily. Better than he probably won in 2016. If he sticks with that, because all of those things that he stated, except for the no inflation at all, it's not exactly true. Inflation was just lower under Trump. Much, much, much lower. But if he sticks with those things, he wins. Did Trump goof up COVID? Yeah, Trump goofed up COVID. Did a lot of people goof up COVID? That's the unfortunate thing. Yes. A lot of people who are currently hitting Trump with, well, he did COVID poorly. Yeah, a lot of people did COVID poorly. It's what happens when you trust bad experts. Trump's greatest weakness is picking stupid people and bad people because they flatter him. Other than that, everything that he's saying there is rock solid gospel. Just 3 years ago, the economy was booming. True. The world was safe. Yes. Putin invaded alternate external territories during Obama's administration with Georgia and Crimea, and during Biden's administration with Ukraine. Did not get close to mobilize. Russian troops were never mobilized near the border. Well, Russia was just ready to go at a moment's notice under the Trump. No, they weren't. They never mobilized near the border. The total number of troops in Russia during the Trump administration decreased. And of course, the Abraham Accords in Israel. Real wages were up under the Trump administration. Gas was down. That's true. And remember, not only your personal cars run on gasoline, folks, those would also be the semis that are driving around the vast, vast, vast majority of food, of secondary material products, of primary consumables, of construction referables, so things that need to be processed into different construction goods. That was all booming under the Trump administration. If he sticks with this, he wins. If he sticks with griping about, all of these problems with the Biden administration and the witch hunts and they're going after me, he likely doesn't. So that's the path to winning 2024. If you refer back to what worked, you'll win. And if you don't, you'll lose. Thanks for joining us this evening on the Tony Kinnett Cast. We will be back tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you then. Good evening.
No more joint pain. It's not necessary to live another year in pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make